Hey guys, Jordan here back with another review for you. Today we're looking at the Cooler Master Masterkeys Pro S keyboard. Now they have 6 different variants in the Masterkeys line. You've got the L, which is the longer version with 4 programmable keys in the right hand corner. Then the M, which is their medium size, doesn't have those programmable keys, but which is kind of your normal kind of keyboard size. Then you've got this one, which is the S, which is the 10 keyless version. Now those 3 different sizes of keyboards are available with 16.7 million colour RGB, or if you just prefer a minimal look, you can just go for a pure white LED, which I think is a nice touch, as not everyone wants to RGB all of the things and they just like a nice simple but elegant backlight. Now for me, I'd like to see this option available on more keyboards. There's so many RGB keyboards out there that, you go to produce a white on it and it doesn't give you a true white like obviously a white LED can produce. So that the fact Cooler Master offer an RGB and a white version I think is really great. More companies really need to take this idea on board. So other things to note with this, it's got a removable braided cable that's 1.5 meters in length, a matte UV top cover with a metal plate inside to give it some nice rigidity. This does use Cherry MX keys, these are the browns on this one. You also have macro and media key support. You can get software as well to do individual per key backlighting. You've got on the fly macro recording, repeat rate adjustments and also firmware available online. And then a few other nifty things that I'll show you as we go throughout the video. Now one thing I'm starting to mention on these reviews, just because people always ask it, is this is a English UK layout, but the one on the box is actually a US layout. So you will see a difference when I actually get into the keyboard to what's on the front. So that's why UK layout in the box, US on the box. Now one thing I like to see for the lighting on keyboards is this one uses a white backplate, which basically allows the LEDs to be more vibrant than no black background. So that's one thing that's nice to see with the Cooler Master. So included in the box we've got a quick start guide, a keycap puller which is a nice thing to see, and then also a nice braided 1.5 meter cable. You also get a nice little bag that you can carry your keyboard in to maybe an event or something. So the braided cable's got a nice tight weave on it, you definitely can't see any of the cabling underneath. It terminates with a 45-degree angle jack which actually comes out of the left of the keyboard when it's plugged in. I will show that in detail in a minute as there's a couple of things I want to say about it. So here is the Masterkeys Pro S. So this is only the second 10 keyless keyboard that I've looked at in my entire kind of review career, I suppose you could call it. So there was a little bit of time to adjust to the fact that I didn't have the number keys on the end. But saying that, I'm really starting to really like the compact size that 10 keyless offers. Where I've only got a shallow desk, all that precious space that I can save is always a plus. Now the Masterkeys keyboards, you can do a lot of the functions with the RGB macros, the gaming buttons. You can do a lot of that on the actual keyboard itself. They do offer software that you can do per key backlighting, but the majority is available on deck, which I think is quite handy for some, but it certainly makes a change than going into some software just to change a simple feature. Now for all the options you have control on the keyboard itself, the most important key for you is going to be the function. So the buttons you'll probably press most with the function are the media keys. These are on the insert, home, delete, end, page up and page down buttons. We've got access to play and pause, stop, previous next track and then volume on there, which is nice. Then going from the F1 to F12, the first 4 operate the different modes of LEDs that you can go through on the keyboard. Then you've got 3 different buttons, one for red, one for green and one for blue. These will adjust that particular one colour on the keyboard. I'll show you all this in detail later on. Then next along you've got the repeat modes. You can go from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 times when you set your macros up. The actual buttons to start those macros are a little bit further along, as well as an LED on or off and a game lock mode. Just nice to make sure you don't press that Windows key and then have all the game minimized, which is an absolute pain. Then on the far right we've got some more macro buttons if you want to get even more in depth. So on the back of the keyboard we've got our standard clips that you'd expect to just raise the typing adjustment a little bit on the keyboard if you prefer a little bit more of a raise. Then you've also got some nice rubber pads on that clip as well as on the top and bottom of the keyboard to make sure it stays nice and still on your desk. So apart from the stands and also the rubber, that's pretty much it for the back of the keyboard. So on the top side is where we find our micro USB port for the cable. Now as you can see it comes off to the left hand side, which for some might be a little bit of an issue just purely because of their cable management method. So for me what I do is run the cable down and to the right of my desk. As my PC case has the kind of normal style you'd expect, I've got a clear panel on the left hand side, which means it's going to be displayed on the right hand side of the desk. Now a lot of people will find their situation the same, so the cables will go down to the right anyway because it will be on the right hand side of them. Now you can easily loop it around a little stand to raise the keyboard up and then put it down for the right that way. That's being very picky obviously about a cable, but being a reviewer that's something I wanted to address. Now in Cooler Master's defense I can see why they've done that though. Just the way it comes out of the keyboard and then flat against the top of it, you can't actually see it from just a sat down position, so I think that's good in that regard, but a lot of people might just find the orientation a little bit difficult. One other thing I did find is this does pick up more fingerprints on the keys and the actual board than a few others that I've tried. This has got a matte UV coating on the top, but yeah, I just found it to pick up grease a little bit easier. But it can be easily wiped off with like a microfiber cloth or either a lens cleaning wipe, so it's not really a big deal. So moving on to the LEDs and the lighting effects, here's the white backplate that I said to you about at the very start of the video. Just really helps give that vibrancy to the LEDs. A little bit of a different design for the actual switches though for this one. Instead of going with like a single LED, they've got one that kind of spreads across the top. A little bit different but still does a nice job. Then below that we've got the Cherry MX Brown switch. So as a quick recap, the Cherry Brown is a tactile non-clicky switch. Now with the tactile in the name, that gives you a little bit of a bump as you actually press it, so you know it's been registered. Kind of offers the best balance between gaming and typing, as you can get a good typing speed but they also feel great while you're on the games as well. Now I know a lot of people like to hear how a keyboard sounds, so here's a sound sample for your ear holes. So one of the quieter Cherry Brown keyboards that I've heard, but definitely one that sounds really nice. And gaming or typing literally does both really well. Cherry Brown's always one that I suggest to people that don't know what switch to go for. Just works as a really great middle ground. So the controls for the lighting on the keyboard is really quite simple once you get the hang of it. It does take a little bit of a while to just kind of get used to how it works. So you've got the F1 to F3 control the different colours, and then the F4 controls the mode. Just think of it as a kind of rainbow colour wheel and just matching them up till you get the right colour that you want. Now each one you can press a total of 10 times, so 9 to then increase the colour of that channel, so red, green and blue, till you find a mix of the colour that you desire. Then once you press it for the 10th time, it then turns that colour off. So as you can see here, I've turned off the blue and the green to then get red, turn off the red and then slowly introduce the blue to get more dark, kind of royal blue. So you've got some different effects with like a cross effect, then a fade once you've pressed the key, adding a little bit more blue to get a purple. The next one is your kind of gaming keys that you're going to use when you're playing like FPS games, for example. Nice one's kind of like a starlight effect. Then obviously you can change that colour to whatever you fancy. Next you've got a colour wave that will just basically go through the 16.7 million colours in sequence. Then you've got the nice simple breathing in and out. You can obviously change that colour as well. Now if you do want to go for a white, I'd recommend pressing the red 9 times, the green 9 times and then the blue 8. I think if you do 9 on the blue it goes a little bit purple. So I think that's the best to get a white colour. Then lighting going out from the key that you've pressed. This one's pretty cool. You can actually play Snake on the keyboard by using the directional arrows. See me going for a few seconds till I really fail, till I fail it badly. It's quite tricky to play on a keyboard though, just because of the way it's laid out. And then we've got a static colour. And then this is where you can really see the colours coming in by me just adjusting them up and down. But yeah, I really like it. It's all controllable on the actual board itself. Some people might prefer it this way. I found it to be quite good after a little while of practicing with it. And then back to the classic colour wave, which is what I've had mine on most of the time. Alrighty then, so we've looked at the RGB and that's pretty much everything around the keyboard. Now to give you my opinion and sum it all up. So as I've said at the start, it's my second TKL keyboard and I've been very, very impressed by what they've done. At the current time of recording this video, it's £115 on Amazon, which is to the higher end of the market of RGB keyboards for what you can get nowadays. But that being said, Cooler Master have always done great products and I'd have no issue in paying that for something of this build quality. I think one thing where this stands out is the portability. If I had a gaming laptop, for example, that I was taking about with me, I would have no hesitation in chucking this inside the bag so I can get a proper mechanical gaming experience when I'm on the move. Just the small size makes it really convenient. You could easily fit it in a laptop bag, so that's a real plus for that side. Now if you're a macro user, all the controls to do that are on the keyboard, so that can make it a little bit difficult to do, so just kind of be wary of that. There's no independent software where you can go in and just manually click them and set them up, which I think will be a great addition to this keyboard. That's the only one thing that's really lacking. You can do the RGB and stuff on that piece of software, but you can't do the macros, which is unfortunate. They do have standard keycaps, so if you fancy replacing the whole thing, that's something you can easily do. And then my only little real niggle is the micro USB cable, just it being a right angle, just makes things a little bit more tricky. So I'd like to see a straight one in the box next time, or maybe just as an optional extra. Either way works. So I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. If you've got any more questions about this keyboard, please let me know in the comments box below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you're interested in getting one of these keyboards, I'll put the links to them all in the description box below. A big thank you to Cooler Master for sending this out for me to review. If you haven't subscribed already, do it! Thank you for watching and I'll see you all in the next one.